6-7 for three. Bingo! He is headed to the lead. So now take a 360 turn with the rookie. Banding down the middle. Get down into Worthy. Side drop. Third in the corner. Double fake.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Dime Dropper for another 2021-22 post-game recap. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe on YouTube at Dime Dropper Podcast, Apple Podcasts, follow us on Spotify, and of course, follow us on all social media platforms at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Dime Dropper Pod. I know it's been around 4 or 5 days since I've been on the mic. Tonight, we're going to talk about the Clippers and the Warriors, a game that just concluded tonight. I can briefly talk about the Clippers-Knicks game. That was a disaster, but honestly, a lot of the things overlap between that game and this game. So we'll just kind of get into it with the Clippers-Warriors game because I feel like the story of both games can kind of be told in one. And I can go over a little bit of the Russell Westbrook situation and LeBron scoring 56 points after the Clipper recap, which was very impressive the other night. And then we can also talk very briefly about the Russell Wilson trade and what I think about that. And then I'll take your questions. Live recap. Make sure to share the live. If you're on Twitter, Instagram, or you want to get any of your friends in here, throw that live up, share it, whatever. Make sure you leave a comment for the algorithms after the video ends. But let's get into it. Clippers and Warriors. This was our fourth and final meeting against these guys. They've been slipping lately without Draymond Green. It's been tough. Clay back in the lineup. Jordan Poole's been moved to the bench. Wiggins has, obviously gotten some of his shots taken away. Clay's, every time I watch the Warriors, shooting every chance he gets to try to get himself back into rhythm. And sometimes it feels like he's forcing it a little bit, kind of hijacking the offense. And tonight was no different in the first quarter. He came out and was shooting a lot. And honestly, I was pretty comfortable with it because he was 2 for 9 in the first quarter, and Steph was only 2 for 3. He was only getting 3 shots. And every time we play the Warriors, anytime any team plays the Warriors, the game plan is to make sure Steph Curry doesn't beat you, make sure you get the ball out of his hands by any means necessary. And that was no different for us. He barely got any clean looks tonight. But the first quarter, we struggled to score so much that we couldn't take advantage of the Warriors only scoring 21 points in the first quarter. So, and that's a big reason. A big reason of that is Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins have really good size, strong, in terms of they had a small ball lineup to start. It was Kavon Looney at the 5, Wiggins basically at the 4 spot guarding senior, or Wiggins guarding Batum, and then Klay guarding senior. And, I always say that in the 2000s, I think senior would have been a 3 just based on his shooting ability and, the way he scores and the way he moves. And he's only 6'8". He's just kind of bulky, but he doesn't rebound well enough for a power forward of the 2000s or the 90s, or play interior enough. So I think he would have been more of a 3 in that era, but in this era, he's a 4. And usually he can kind of score on skinnier 3s. But Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins have long arms and are strong, so we didn't get any advantage there. And so what I always say about our team without Norman Powell, Kawhi, and Paul, if Marcus Morris Sr. and Reggie Jackson are not hitting, we have a very hard time scoring. That was the case the other night against New York, and that was the case again tonight. And what didn't help either was if it's a Zubac's not getting off to a good start. And it was another, I don't want to say another, it was a poor Zubac's night. He was one of our best players. He's been one of our best players this whole season, but he had a really good stretch of games in that 5-game winning streak we had. And now these 2 blowouts, he's been really poor. He was 0 for 6 tonight, 4 points, 4 of 4 from the line. He should have gotten more free throws. We already know what happens when Zoo doesn't get calls. He gets discouraged. He starts going up soft. And you can really tell Zoo when he's trying to dominate, when he's really playing aggressive, when he's embracing contact, when he's going up strong, and when he's, putting up shots kind of soft, kind of flailing, getting frustrated. You can just tell by the way a guy puts up his hand and calls for the ball, the way a guy fights for position, the way how quickly he moves when he gets the ball. These are all things you got to look at, when talking about how aggressive a guy is, body language, beyond the box score, as I always say. And Zoo these are the type of games that get him to be questioned by a lot of Clipper fans. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of those really. I trust Zoo, but this could be a thing that we find out later down the line with Kawhi and Paul at the highest levels. I'm talking championship and conference finals if we're lucky enough to be healthy enough to get there next season. These are things that can be exposed. He did not deter anyone at the rim really tonight. He was not the Ivica Zubats of normal. He had 0 blocks, he had 4 turnovers, one terrible handoff where he just didn't know where Terrence Mann was, and the Warriors took advantage of that. And there was one, pass to the corner that should have been a bounce pass. It was a chest pass. Curry took the ball. That was in the third quarter. So he just had one of his poorer games of the season, and it's those kind of games that get him questioned because I think 75% of the time Zoo plays well, but these are the type of games where he just kind of lays an egg that get people questioning him. But, our first quarter, we were okay. We scored 7 points in the first minute and a half. And then in the next 10 minutes to end the first quarter, we only scored 14. But the second quarter was even worse than the first quarter offensively. We only scored 15 points in the second, and we're outscored 33-15. And largely it was because our bench unit just did not make their open shots. But again, you got to give the Warriors credit. What they're going to bring on defense. They have certain guys that can switch, like a Jonathan Kuminga, Damian Lee. I watched him last season with the Warriors, and he never stood out on defense or anything. And I don't think he's that good of a defender, but Warriors fans, you can let me know. But I never noticed a moment where I was like, oh, Damian Lee's playing great defense tonight, the way I do with Gary Payton Jr. or Kuminga or Klay Thompson or Andrew Wiggins, who really stood out last year on that end and, kind of started his changing of the way he plays into this defensive stopper for the Warriors that we're seeing even more so this season. But I never had that with Damian Lee. He's just a guy that sometimes he hits shots, sometimes he doesn't. And other than that, doesn't really do much. And that was kind of the case tonight. I'm sorry. I really thought that was, wow, I'm so stupid. I thought that was Damian Lee the whole time. It was Moses Moody tonight. But he actually has some good length, Moses Moody. Jesus Christ. I thought that was Damian Lee. No, Moses Moody. Yeah, he was pretty impressive. 4 of 6 from the field, 10 points. But overall, that second quarter, Clipper fans, we just could not hit. A couple of possessions, we just shot quick jump shots, where we should have been more patient, working the ball around. The Warriors are going to be good defensively. They are going to have some good switchable guys that can guard multiple positions. They, Looney and Bielitsa did a really good job today of playing drop coverage, just stepping up just enough to make sure Reggie Jackson and Luke Kennard don't have clean looks coming off screens. And guys like Juan Toscano-Anderson, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, they all fight over the screen, making sure that they're not making Bielitsa play a 2-on-1 situation in that drop coverage. And then obviously when they hedge, they do a good job of rotating as well. So they know where their coverage is. They know how to guard. Their rotations are sharp, and they can do a variety of things. And when Draymond and Iguodala come back and Otto Porter, they're going to be able to switch even more guys onto different kinds of players and blow up schemes. So, they're going to be dangerous come playoff time. It's all really dependent on Draymond Green and when he can come back and how many games he gets under his belt before the playoffs. And, Klay Thompson, he did get better as the game went on, but I just don't know if they're going to be able to have him shooting so much when guys like Steph, for example, tonight Steph shot 12 times and Klay shot 23. Now, I know that's a large reason, in large part because Curry doesn't like forcing shit, and he's the one getting schemed and getting doubled up every screen and whatever. But still, that distribution, it cannot be 11 shots in Klay's favor like that in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Steph needs to be a little bit more on ball in the playoffs and more aggressive. I know, Kerr, he likes to experiment and he likes to get guys in rhythm and get guys confident for that long haul. And ultimately the Warriors won tonight very comfortably, so it didn't matter. And in the second quarter, a big reason why they took advantage of our quick shots. Amir Coffey, one of the guys that just couldn't get going tonight, took some quick shots and was 3 for 11, 0 of 4 from 3. Luke Kennard, that's a guy I don't really have a problem with taking certain shots because, like, what's really a bad shot for Luke? That's more about time and place. But, in a moment where we can't score, Luke taking a semi-contested 3, I don't mind. 3 of 8 from deep tonight for him, 4 of 11, 11 points, not his best night. And then Terrence Mann, he just could not buy a bucket at all. He missed the contested layup that he usually makes. He missed mid-ranges. He airballed a corner 3. And that moment or those minutes where the Clippers went cold, that's when the Warriors took advantage in transition. And, it wasn't fast break, sort of classic, Clay and Steph transition threes galore in transition. It was just more picking up the pace off a miss. Your defense is in scramble mode. Anyone that's played basketball, even at any level or even at pickup, you want to score more, or you're more energized to score when you get stops, and you're more energized to play defense when you score. You know what I'm saying? And I remember, being a kid in fourth grade when you haven't touched the ball in a while. You're not that interested in playing defense right now. You haven't touched the ball. You're not engaged. You get a shot in, you see the ball go, and you're like, all right, let's go. Let's get a stop. Anybody knows the feeling. Basketball is a game of momentum. Sports are all momentum, but basketball especially is such a momentum game. I always say this one possession affects the next. You make shots, you get your defense set, but you also get that confidence of having scored. Okay, settle down. Let's get a stop. Let's talk, boys. You get that moment to, look at everybody and talk to everybody down the court, if you're hustling back. As opposed to, when you miss, you have to scramble in transition. You don't get a chance to talk. And the other team's like, okay, we got to stop. Let's score. And once we score, okay, let's get a stop. Let's build a run. So, that was happening for the Warriors tonight in the second quarter. And Reggie Jackson, it's really so dependent on if Reggie and Marcus Morris Sr. play well. And Reggie tonight, 2 of 14 from the field and 1 of 5 from 3. When he doesn't turn that corner hard, and, he got a couple of floaters in the lane, some he made, some he missed, where he did turn that corner. But when he doesn't turn that corner hard, and sometimes, Zeus, send me another screen. Let me back it up. Send me another screen. Oh, I don't like that one. Let me just pull it back out. I'm trying to turn that corner. I'm going to pull it back out and dance a little bit and shoot a contested 3. And, when he does that, it just really can kill our offensive flow. And he did a lot of that the other night against New York. And, I love Reg, so I'm always going to back him, never going to slander him, but he can really dilly-dally on the ball sometimes, and it can kill our offense. And Marcus Morris Sr., the Warriors just had too much size and speed and athleticism for him to really take advantage of mismatches and get clean looks. And he was 4 of 11 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3. And that's the thing about the Warriors. They don't have a rim protector, but their defense is preventing line drives, staying in front of their man, really sitting down and guarding. And, I really enjoy watching them play because they're one of the only teams in this league that plays differently than everybody else, which is, just a high, heavy dose of pick and roll. And, we're pretty creative offensively, but we're not, that crazy from everybody else, in terms of style. We just kind of play the right way, or a good modern basketball team. Ty Lue, knows the game has changed, and he's a smart coach. I think Ty Lue could be a great coach if you transport him to 2000 style of play too. I think he's a basketball mind. And, I think we play the right way for today's NBA, but I think that there are some times where I'm like, dude, give the ball to Zoo in the post. He's got a small guy on him. Give it to Isaiah, little things like that. Stop being allergic to mid-ranges. And, sometimes we go a little bit too small, but that's the NBA now. But the Warriors, they're such a breath of fresh air because they have so many guys that move without the ball. And, Steph is so selfless. Like tonight, he only shot 12 shots. There were times where he sat out for really large stretches. I don't know if he's, nursing a little bit of an injury or whatnot. At this point of the season, you just really want to make sure he's healthy going into the playoffs, because he still could be the best player in the world. And I think this year, more than any year that I've watched basketball, and maybe in my entire life, this year, the title of best player in the world is so inconclusive that this playoffs will really decide if one guy can rise above the rest. I think Giannis has a great shot to win the championship again. I think Steph Curry has a great shot to win the championship again. I think Kevin Durant, if the mandate's lifted, has a chance to win a championship again. And I think Nikola Jokic, sadly, the other player in this debate, does not have a chance to win the championship this year because Jamal Murray's not back. But Joel Embiid and James Harden have a hell of a chance to win the championship this season. But anyway, to end it off, Jordan Poole really got going in that second quarter. And sometimes he does things that look like an all-star. You go back to the game at Staples Center that they beat us. The third quarter was a pool party, and the end of the second quarter was the pool party tonight. He hits shots off the catch. He can make shots going to the rim, really acrobatic finishes. He had this one up and under that was just beautiful tonight. And he's shifty, man. Ricky G in the space that we had the other week talked about him being a ball pounder, and that's kind of gotten him, a little bit out of favor with Steve Kerr sometimes and whatnot. But tonight he was really in his bag, and when guys are closing out hard and he's going downhill and he has the ability to make all these leaners and acrobatic shots around the rim, this is going to come in handy come playoff time. You can never have. I mean, actually, I was about to say you can never have too many shot creators, but you can. But when they move the ball quick, the culture of the team is moving the ball quick, and moving without the ball, and nobody holding it for too long, which is, I think that's what Jordan Poole was getting penalized for by Steve Kerr. That's what makes them special. That's what makes it work. So anyway, Warriors kicked our ass, going into the half. I like the looks we were getting in the third quarter. We were getting much better looks, but we just could not capitalize, guys. Luke Kennard, open three, couldn't capitalize. Reggie Jackson, open three, couldn't capitalize. It just wasn't our night. And it's just disappointing that I've had to say that. I didn't go live for the Knicks game, but if I was to go live last time, I would have said the same thing. Just wasn't our night shooting the ball. It's rare in the NBA with a team this solid that you have two of those nights, and it wasn't a back-to-back, 2 games with a day in between of rest. So that was just whack. I thought Nico Batum was our only bright spot, really active hands on defense, was our best defender. He still was efficient, 17 points on 6 of 11 shooting and 3 of 7 from deep. But, our lack of being able to make shots in that third quarter, we could have cut the game to around 15-14. But then Jordan Poole again came back in and started lighting us up, deep from deep. The reverse layup, as I talked about. And then Klay Thompson, coming off curls, getting into the mid-range and hitting tough shots. And, I want to say Klay's never been the fastest guy in terms of, quick step, taking you off the dribble. He has had some nice dunks in the past when he gets all the way, but he's not a get to the rim kind of guy, when it comes to all the way. He likes those leaners and stopping on a dime for like stopping 8 feet, 10 feet short, looking for some bank shots and stuff like that. He's just not like a, get downhill acceleration kind of guy. He's more of a creating space kind of guy. And, when he's got that actually is easier to guard for bigger guys like an Isaiah Hartenstein if you can slide with him well enough. And he was able to get 2 stops on Klay, just putting a hand up. And I think that's part of the reason why Klay, some people have doubts about him as being a number 1 scorer on like if he were to have his own team and just being an elite scorer off the bounce. I think he has enough juice and skill to just make shots off creating space. Definitely not the form he's in right now. Obviously, I wouldn't have Klay Thompson lead his team right now. But, in his prime before he got hurt, we don't know if we're ever going to see those kind of days again. I think he'll have those games for sure in the playoffs and in the future. But will he ever regain that all-star form? That remains to be seen. We're going to have to see next season. But as long as maybe he'll find it in the playoffs. You never know. I mean, he is a big game player. And he was starting to hit as the game went on in the third quarter. And in the fourth quarter, once we missed an open 3 or 2, Ty pulled the plug. And, to be fair, Rodney Hood, Semi Ojeleye, and those guys, Brandon Boston Jr. put up a little fight in the fourth quarter in terms of cutting it down and making the score look respectable. That was the only quarter that we won, 36-26. But we lost the third quarter 32-25, and that really sealed our fate. And especially the first 2 minutes of the third quarter, we went from 18 to down 24. And, we're already having an uphill battle there. So to read the lines, the final score, 112-97. The Warriors win the season series against the Clippers 3-1. We move on to 30 Senior, 11 points, 4 of 11, and 0 of 3 from deep. 2 bad games in a row for Senior, just not enough. And defensively, he's one of our weaker links. He gets blown by a lot, doesn't have the foot speed, and doesn't really offer any resistance around the rim. Zubats, one of his worst games in a while. As I said, 0 of 6, 4 points, and 4 turnovers. Reggie, 2 of 14, 5 points. And then Terrence, 7 points on 2 of 9. We only shot 35.5% from the field. That's just bad shots, getting flustered in the second quarter, shooting quick shots, missing open shots, and then, of course, Warrior defense. Other than that, Isaiah Hartenstein, 10 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block on 4 of 5 shooting. So he was actually pretty good. I know, though, some of those were in garbage time, so it's made his stats look better. But let's go to the Warriors stats. Andrew Wiggins, really solid game on both ends of the floor tonight. Really felt his presence on the defensive end. 14 points and 11 rebounds. By the way, good amount of hand checking being let go tonight on both ends and some, around the rim, not calling stuff. I thought that the game was officiated a little bit too loosely, but you know me, I like when they let him play. But, it's just weird watching one game like that and then going to another game and they call everything, especially on the perimeter. But anyways, it was fair for both teams, not complaining. 14 points, 11 rebounds. Andrew Wiggins, it's more of a playoff style called game. 6 of 14 from the field. Kavon Looney, he actually had something that I have not seen in so long, guys. A good, hard screen. I was watching the 2008 playoffs with one of my friend Oceans, that we did the Kobe video. We're actually remember, for anybody that has asked us, where's the how Kobe won back-to-back finals video? because we did the why Kobe's Lakers lost 2 finals in 04 and 08. We are doing an even more in-depth watch. We watched all of Kobe's playoff games in 08, and we're going to watch all of them in 09 and rewatch the finals and then 2010 as well, and then make the video on it. So it'll be coming. I don't know when, but maybe it'll may take another year or so. And then, of course, when we get there in the timeline, years down the line, we'll obviously go through all the games themselves. But I was watching that, and Rasheed Wallace set such a hard screen, and I remember thinking, like, damn, I never say that anymore. Good hard screen, like these little things of the game that like a basketball junkie like me loves. But unfortunately, it was against us tonight. But Kavon Looney hit a screen on Reggie Jackson where he leveled him, and I was like, hey man, that's a good hard screen. And Kavon Looney, he's just a really good guy to have. He's gotten better in those pick and roll reads and the short roll when they trap Steph Curry all the time. And, he plays really intelligent defense, solid rim protector, great screener, good in drop coverage, good length, intelligent player for the most part, as far as I know. I mean, he did play really solid minutes in that 2018 finals run, especially in that Rocket series, and did a good job switching on to certain guys, even James Harden, those 2 years. So Kavon Looney, very underrated player. He's having a really good year, 7 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. And then Steph, 15 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. But if you're a casual, you say never a great game. This is all because of Steph. This system all revolves around Steph. We're worried about him. We're throwing 2 guys at him. You know what I'm saying? You take him out of the equation, they can moving off the ball. I just don't think it works with that same, because who's starting? Now Jordan Poole's starting. We're scheming him. Totally different. So, you got to look at the effect he has and how he's so okay with casual people saying, oh, look at Steph Curry's stat line tonight. 5 of 12. He didn't really do anything. I mean, this is the problem with modern fans is you need to understand when guys are eating, you got to let them eat. Because as a great player, you could always get yours. You're going to have that time down the line where it's going to be time that you're going to have to get yours. This is the time to let other guys get their confidence, let other guys get their rhythm. A guy like Klay Thompson, who's missed 2 years of basketball, he shot 23 shots and was inefficient. But they won. They beat us by 15. And Steph Curry, you think that if you think that that they could win like that with Steph Curry not playing, you're foolish. Because again, going back to the classic Ricky G line, who's catching the fucking schemes? Steph Curry is on the game plan. We're you know what I'm saying, for every team. And everything is possible because of his off-ball movement. You know what I'm saying? That system exists because of him. And it maximizes the rest of the team while also making him more dangerous. That doesn't mean that his stats get maximized, though. That's what people get twisted. And a lot of Curry fans get on Kurt for that shit. It's not about Curry's stats. Greg Popovich killed Tim Duncan and Tony Parker's stats. People don't even think Tony Parker was like that. They think that, Chris Paul was always way better. Bro, I watched Tony Parker and Chris Paul play against each other in their primes on my team. And let me just tell you, this is closer than you remember. And that's because a lot of things that people would say about Tim Duncan and Tony and Manu, their stats weren't that good. But that's because they played such a team style of basketball. It's an everybody eats system. It's the same with the Warriors. And you need very selfless stars to play that brand of basketball because Steph Curry has now fallen out of the MVP race, but he may be the one that wins the MVP that matters most in the end. We'll see. But letting people eat is very important. Because if you want to, when guys are eating and you want to still go out, let me get my 20. I'm not really, my stats don't look good. Let me pad them things. Why? That may kill the flow of your teammates. That may, stagnate the process in terms of if you guys are blowing a team out and everybody's eating, everyone's moving the ball. Oh, but you want to get yours. You want to slow it down. And, maybe you win by, 10 points. The other team cuts it down and you win by only 10 points. What's the point? You know what I'm saying? Like, just so you can get yours. And real stars, I don't want to say real stars, but real selfless stars don't care about that kind of stuff. And Steph Curry falls into that category. 1 of 6 from 3, 5 of 12 from the field. And, when he was missing some of those threes a couple times, I was like, he hasn't shot in a minute. Of course he's going to miss. You know what I'm saying? I knew he was going to miss. He hadn't shot. Even the greatest shooter of all time needs some rhythm shots. Nemanja Bjelica, I thought, played pretty well tonight too, though. 5 points, 2 of 5 from the field, and 1 of 2 from 3. But I thought he was decent in drop coverage. He was plus 12. And Kuminga, I mean, that reverse dunk he had against Hartenstein was beautiful. He's a hell of a player. I've talked about him before. He defends. He's got great length. He's getting more confident on the ball. He reminds me of Siakam, Giannis type of player. Really long, can handle the ball, can guard a lot of different positions, great length, athletic. DR Congo. 21 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists on 7 of 12 shooting and 2 of 3 from 3. And then Jordan Poole, 20 points, 8 of 13 shooting, 4 of 6 from 3. So that's the game there. LeBron, 56 points the other night against Golden State. Incredible performance, but it came at the expense of him resting last night or not playing, and they lost. So just like that. And then Russell Westbrook with his comments. By the way, so it is very impressive that what LeBron is able to do still at this age. Incredible. But, Russell Westbrook commenting about the fans and the death threats and all that. Nina Westbrook, his wife, tweeting about it and everything. It just really goes to show how bad the Russell Westbrook situation has gotten and how much of a disaster this move has been. It's tough to see because I'm a Russ fan, but he's been playing so poorly, especially, in the new year. It's really hard. Laker fans are really harsh. They expect a lot. And, this team had championship expectations. They were the favorites going into the season out of Vegas with that big three after seeing Russ average a triple-double in Washington and leading him to that 8th seed. So, and, this is the first time in Russ's career he's the third best player on the team, and he's really failed miserably. And, he's had chances without AD, without LeBron, even without both like last night, and it just can't go his way. His jump shot is just nowhere to be seen. His mid-range is worse than it's ever been, and it's just tough scenes. And, there's still no excuse, though, for people to be, sending death threats, from your little anonymous accounts. It's just you have no life. You never say it to someone's face, and you just, because of social media these days, you have the power of anonymity to send people whatever the fuck you want with no consequences. And it's disgraceful. It's disgusting. Laker fans can really cross the line, but there's toxic seeds in every fan base. So I don't think it's just a complete reflection of Laker fans. Russ needs to step it up. They're still in the play-in. They're not done until they're eliminated for good. And he just needs to step it up. Point blank, period. Lakers play again tomorrow. I'm going to be live after that one. Oh, actually, I'm not going to be live because I'm going to be at the game tomorrow, Clippers Wizards, thanks to Rui. She gave me a free ticket, so shout out Rui. I was going to give another shout out, but I'm also, I don't remember it right now, but I will say this: Russell Wilson being traded from the Seahawks to the Broncos. Shout out to my boy Matthew. That's who it was. Shout out to my boy Matthew, big time Broncos fan. He wanted to, that was one of the teams that recruited Old Dime before the Rams came to town to try to be a fan of their team. Russell Wilson, man, this reminds me of when the Broncos got Manning. That's what he told me too today. But the king of Seattle, what can you say? I remember when he was drafted, in that class with RG3 and I forget which other quarterback. Was it Andrew Luck? Andrew Luck and RG3 and then him. And he's ended up having the best career of all three. Lost that, won that first game in Washington. I think that was the game that RG3 tore was it his Achilles or his ACL? And then obviously went on to win that Super Bowl against the Broncos in the 2013 season, 2014 Super Bowl. And then the following year, one of my favorite Super Bowls where he had one of the biggest, most famous interceptions in the history of the NFL, Malcolm Butler on the goal line. But Russell Wilson, I actually got the pleasure of my first NFL game watching him play. And, it's impressive how not tall that guy is. And, over the course of his Seattle Seahawks tenure, he didn't have very good O-lines most of the time. And that's something I noticed from playing against him when we got a team. And he just found ways to make something out of nothing so much, in scramble mode. And with his height and being able to make the plays that he makes, it's just unbelievable. He's definitely an all-timer, at least in this generation, one of the best. And it's going to be crazy that he's gone from Seattle. I expect whenever he plays there, if he does get them next season, I don't know. The Broncos are AFC, so I don't know if they will, but it's going to be crazy when he goes back to Seattle at some point of his career. He's going to get an amazing ovation. He was the man, and he'll always be remembered as a Seahawk. But we'll see what he does with Denver. But anyway, that's it for me tonight, guys. Now we're going to go to the live subscribers waiting oh so patiently in the chat. I also do want to say, guys, as much as I hate them, the 76ers are looking really dangerous with this combo. I mean, putting Harden next to Embiid was a great fit. The only concern I have, Tobias Harris, when he becomes a spot-up shooter like we saw in 2019, that's when he chokes. He also chokes even when he's not a spot-up shooter sometimes, but even more so now, Harden needs to be very careful. If they make him a spot-up shooter, he will choke and become the scapegoat. I can promise you that. Other than that, the Bulls also losing like 0-14 against top 3 seeds on each conference. They need Lonzo Ball, Caruso back. to really, I think, to really judge them fully. And I think that their expectation will just be to win a first round series, but just making it to the playoffs is guaranteed a good season. They're going to have a lot to build off. They've had an injury plagued year for the most part in terms of starters being out, but I still think they should win a first round series. But don't look now, but those Boston Celtics are coming. Jason Tatum's playing amazing basketball lately. He's hitting his jump shots and he's being more aggressive, and other guys are hitting shots. The addition of Derek White was big. Everyone's defending. Rob Williams has been healthy. Marcus Smart's been healthier, and they've really gained that defensive chemistry. Grant Williams is shooting over 40% from deep. I mean, it's all clicking for Boston. They could be a dark horse in the playoffs and going back on that upwards trajectory that we had them on in 2020. So that's it for me tonight, guys. We'll talk more about the playoff picture and all that as the season progresses. Thanks for joining me. 30 minutes on the dot. Let's go to the live subscribers waiting so patiently in the chat. Thanks, and make sure to leave a comment and a review. What's up, y'all? My boy, what's going on? He says, Dime, what's happening, my man? Not feeling too great, 2 losses. Kyle's take says, Golden State's lack of size scares me as a fan, especially for the first round, whether we finish second or third. The matchup is going to be against a good center. Could be right, especially Jokic. That would be crazy. Be tough. June 28th, July said, how did the Lakers beat Warriors? LeBron went nuclear, and Russ actually had a good offensive game. Kyle says, how effective is this Golden State Warriors offense going to be against Phoenix or Memphis, in your opinion? Extremely effective. I mean, the Warriors. It's just a matter of having everybody healthy. Ricky Beaver says, Looney has always been a good screen and roll man. He's just undersized. Thanks. Kyle's take says, the thing about Looney is that we pray he stays healthy. Ricky Beaver says, I think he's 6'9", but not taking a trade in the offseason. No, none. Kyle's take says, Steph also didn't shoot as many times tonight, but exactly as you said, he let the young guys eat. Ricky Beaver says, facts. It's the intangible things unseen in stats. That's why I put about half or so of my judgment in stats analytics. Kyle's take says, Steph just makes everyone look good. Where do I rank Kuminga among rookies? Top 10, I'd say. I mean, you got Scotty Barnes, who's great. You got Evan Mobley, who's great. You got Franz Wagner, who's really good. Cade Cunningham, Valley Podcast is going to any games next week. I don't know, honestly. I haven't looked at the schedule for next week. He said Clipper fans are loyal. Laker fans are really toxic. Ricky Beaver says, I initially thought Kuminga was going to be for sure a top 5 pick. I thought Magic would take him at 4. His upside is tremendous. Reminds me of better Sean Marion. Ooh, that's high praise, my guy. We'll see if he's better than Sean Marion. I didn't watch Marion as a rookie, but the Matrix ended up having a great career, and he was a beast in his prime. Alexander says, don't act like I didn't try to get you on the Vikes. That is true. He did try to get me to be a Vikings fan, and again, to no avail. Valley Podcast says, good night, brother. Top River says, what's up, Dime? Do you feel bad for my Lakers? Not one bit, bro. I actually love it. LeBron wanted a super team, and he got it, and it's been a failed one because whether Russ is declining and no longer and ever going to be an all-star again, or he's just not good with LeBron at all, and he's making him look that much worse, it blew up in his face, and I love that when he tries to stack the deck. Kyle says, what's your take on the whole Westbrick issue, like calling Russ Westbrick? I think that was a little bit petty. I think that in terms of mentioning that, like, that's a nickname. It's a joke. You just got to play better, man. LeBron gets called all sorts of shit. So, I don't know. Westbrick stuff was whatever. Right? This is why can't the Clippers play like this versus the Lakers? You want to know the difference? Because the Warriors guard and you guys don't. That's the difference. It's not about playing like this. You guys don't guard. You feel me? You give us more open looks to get in rhythm. Kyle's take says, did you see the stuff about many good teams in the East and at least 1 or 2 of them is bound to get upset in the first round? I mean, that's just, yeah, of course. That's what the West was like every year in the 2000s. And a lot of the 2010s. Right? Says, if Russ doesn't want to be called Westbrick, he needs to stop building houses every night. Right? Says, Darian, do you agree with Glenn Rivers when he says that Ben Simmons deserves a tribute when he returns to Philly? No, I disagree hard. What the fuck is he talking about? He's a fool. 24-year-old Jason Tatum or 24-year-old Kevin Durant? Okay, stop. Kevin Durant. Come on, man. You know what Kevin Durant was doing in his 5th season? Taking his team to the finals. I don't think Jason Tatum's doing that this season. Come on, man. I think rookie versus rookie, you could argue Tatum was better. I think sophomore versus sophomore, you could argue Tatum was better. Third year versus third year, I mean, Tatum did have a breakout season, but hell no. Kevin Durant. 4th year, Kevin Durant. 5th year, Kevin Durant. So, yeah. QA102 says, talk about some Premier League dime. I swear also Ronaldo and Harry Kane, best duo in EPL history. QA, you're the English guy that goes into space, aren't you? Chelsea fan? That's you? You've been commenting on my lives for a little minute. I didn't know that was you. Is that who I'm thinking of? Yeah, Harry Kane's been killing it, man. I saw the highlights of that Spurs game, man. I love Antonio, so I'm really happy for Antonio that the Spurs are playing well. But you know who I'm really impressed with this year, man? Arsenal. I think they play really the right way. This has been one of the best Arsenal teams in a minute. Like, they actually have one of the best back fours. They may have their best back four that I've seen in my 12 years watching the Premier League. Like, Ben White, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, and then Ramsdale at the back, and then Kieran Tierney. They're really solid. All of them are solid. Gabriel, I think, is the best one. Tomiyasu, really solid. And then, yeah, I like the young players, man. Saka, again this weekend, involved in goals. Emil Smith-Rowe, Martinelli, a lot of young talent to look forward to. I was just telling Alexander, my friend, last night that's in this live, about that. In a couple years' time, I think they'll be able to contend for that league. So, Sonaldo, is that what you're calling him now? Oh, man. That fool's he's annoying, but he's really good. I'm not going to lie. Chelsea with a big win this weekend. Big. Needed it. Needed it bad. Let's see. Darian, who was better in 2013, Kevin Durant or Kobe? Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant was better. Just younger. Basically starting his prime. I think his prime really started in 2012. So, and he's like basically still ongoing. Yeah. Actually, I don't think so. He's just really good. But I'd say, yeah, 2013 Durant. He should do a little bit more on defense that year. Kyle's takes is kind of crazy to think that a group of 20 to 21-year-old people going to the finals. Who? Alexander says, how can you not give praise to Dennis and Henri? Wait, he said, you said best duo in EPL history? Hell no. Yeah, no, Dennis Bergkamp and Henri. Are we talking 2 strikers? Hey, man, they're not even better than Rooney and Berbatov. Get out of here. Get out of here, man. I hate Man United, but they're not better than Rooney and Berbatov. Hell no. Rooney, I hate Rooney, but he was better than Kane, man. He could do a lot more. He was creative. I don't think Kane's really good technically too, but Rooney, every time he touched the ball, he would scare me sometimes. Fuck that fool, though. Who's the better player, Darian? Luka or Jokic? Jokic. He's further along in his career, and I think when a 7-footer is skilled like that, and then all the other shit he can do, it's tough, man. Kyle's Dominic uses Randall had a good game in what seems like forever. Haha. Jonathan Jacob Q says, Dime, suggestion for the channel. Would you consider reacting to takes of other NBA YouTubers and give commentary about your own knowledge on their takes? If it's not your style, then it's cool, though. Jonathan, maybe down the line, but right now I just have too many videos planned that, I don't know. I can't fit that in right now. I'm sorry. But I appreciate all the suggestions, KB Magic says Kobe in 2013 before the Achilles tear was a monster. That's absolute facts. But KB, bro, he was not really playing defense like that before that tear. Kevin Durant was the number 1 seed, and he led that team. So come on, I got to give him the benefit of the doubt that he was younger. I thought Kobe was still really good. But I thought KD, especially after he dethroned him in 2012, like in a way, you know what I mean? Like he showed he was the best player in the West that year. Yeah, Alexander, come on. Dennis and Henri are Son and Kane. Get out of here. That's not even it. That's a no-brainer to me. Wilson Santos says these past 2 games, Reggie's shot selection has been a bit sus. Dude, that's Reggie's shot selection every night. What you talking about? Yeah, Jonathan Jakob Hughes may not be the most original thing, but it will attract more casual fans and hopefully expand their knowledge of the game through listening to your commentary. Yeah, you're right about that. Maybe. I don't know about other YouTubers. Maybe like mainstream media, but those are maybe more for YouTube Shorts and TikToks. But yeah, maybe more for YouTube Shorts and TikToks. But I don't know. I like to keep my what's it called? My content clean. My content as what I wanted to be right now. 2013 LeBron or 2016 LeBron? I like ooh, in the regular season, there's no doubt it's 2013 LeBron because he played so hard and he was good on both ends of the floor. And he was so efficient and like he was making game winners. Um, Overall, though, I'm gonna go 2016. I just think that experience was big, and I think his jumper got bad. Nah, honestly, I may have to go with 2013. You know what? I may have to rewatch the film. Dead ass. I think that offensively he was better in 2016. I think he had more confidence and he was a little bit like more polished in terms of like his game offensively. And I think experience and he got better in terms of knowing what he's good at and what he's not great at. But 2013, even though people just sag off here and there, he was very versatile. He was more off ball that year. He scored in the mid range area. He was amazing going to the rim. He was a fucking monster athletically, and he still played really hard. So I think you could probably say overall 2013, but I think it's a good case to be made for 16. Who's the better player, Luka or Anthony Davis? Come on, that's not even close right now, right? Luka's so much better. Did Dirk dethrone Kobe in 2011? No, I think he had a better series than him, but he had a lot more help. Like in that series, Pau Gasol didn't have one good game. Phil Jackson seemed to throw in the towel, leaving Kobe out for extended stretches in the first two games. Matt Barnes didn't play enough. Steve Blake leash was way too long. I rewatched that series, so I can tell you pretty fresh. Within the last year, I rewatched it. Kobe could have done better though at the end of games 1 and 3. That's definitely a blemish for him, but just the Mavs overall just played better defense too. Bynum was getting cooked in pick and roll. And Bynum and Gasol are both getting cooked in pick and roll by Beret and Jason Terry in game 2 and various stretches of game 4. So I don't think that Dirk actually outplayed Kobe like that in the series. I think he closed better. But I think his team gave him more opportunities to do that. But I truly don't think he completely outplayed Kobe in that series. Kobe played pretty decently in that series watching it back. I thought he played way worse remembering it back off memory. What's up, Spence? Says, what's up, Dime? Tough loss tomorrow. Hopefully Rodney Hood gets way more minutes. I doubt it. Michael George says, here's a good one all time in terms of pure skill, AI or Kyrie. I think Kyrie, just his one-on-one combos, his ability to shoot the ball from all three levels, mid-range, even able to post up. His ability to finish with both hands. I think Kyrie's more skilled, but I think that it's not wrong if you say Iverson. I got to watch more Iverson too. I didn't live in Iverson's prime. I got to watch his when I get to the time machine, get to his era. But I watched Kyrie's prime, and I'm seeing his whole career from day one. Kyle's Takes says, do you think that the top teams in both conferences are set already? Just matters on what seed? Yes, I do. John Lentz says, Dem, I'm not sure if you've been paying much attention to the rookies this year, but who do you think should win Rookie of the Year? Evan Mobley. What's up, Showtime Nick? Suleiman Ali says, what's up, Dime? Love your content, man. Try my best to catch up from London. My man, thanks so much, bro. I really appreciate you. Any last questions, guys? 45 minutes is a pretty good amount. 14 people in the live. Not too bad. Remember, keep sharing this shit. Keep telling people about it. It's, again, been a slow year for lives, guys. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because the Clippers aren't contending. Maybe it's because the Lakers are trash. Maybe both. YouTube algorithms, all three. We got to do our best to try to get it back. Bird ranked all time. Easy top 10. I think he can be argued anywhere, even as number 1. Is he top 5? I mean, I think he can easily be top 5. I think if you think Larry Bird is the most spectacular player you've ever seen, and you think that he's the best player in your mind, whatever that means, I don't think that's anything wrong with that. But I haven't seen enough tape to make. Remember, Spence, I got to watch my whole timeline. It's got to finish. You know what I mean? Like, I got to do everything. Hawks making the playoffs. Kyle's Take says they're making the play-in. I don't know if they're making the playoffs. We'll see about that. They can't guard. That's the thing. They really miss Tony Snell. Capella's not been as sharp. So we'll see. But that's all I got. That's all I got tonight, guys. The Melo, I'm gonna go live before the next what went wrong with the Melo Knicks. That's coming out this weekend. Vlog obviously coming out. Yeah, that's my next video will be the vlog. And then I'll probably be live on Friday night, and then I'll post the what went wrong with Melo Knicks part 3, the Melo years, the good Melo years. And then yeah, continuous content. I think I'm gonna have to cancel my Dimes Bank space tomorrow. So that's tough. But let's see. Suleiman Ali says, love the space with Ricky and what he said about Bird. Yes, thank you, man. I appreciate you tuning in for that. Really appreciate it. Right? Said, are the Nets a first-round exit? Depends who they play. Nikisha Selvarasa says, if you had to start a franchise with either Giannis, LeBron, Durant, or Curry in order from 1 to 4, what would your order be all prime? Wow. Number 1, I'm going to go with LeBron. Number 2, I'm going to go with Steph. Number 3, I'm going to go with Kevin Durant. And number 4, I'm going to go with Giannis. All great players, though. Spence's Bird was an animal. Yes, using athleticism against guys, correct. Showtime Nick says, I don't know if I'd go as far as Larry Bird as the GOAT, but I'd say at worst, borderline top 5 all time. Small forwards, I'd say he and LeBron are 1A, 1B. When is Ricky G coming? Ricky G's, I'm talking about the Twitter space, right? You got to get on Twitter. When is Ricky G coming on the podcast? When he comes to LA, so we'll see. By the way, I'm going to be featuring on UCLA national champion Chris Johnson's podcast. My friend Will's dad. If you haven't checked out my episode with Will, my first and only Dime Dropper featuring episode, go check that out. He gave some really good insight. He's part of the reason I started this whole journey of looking back in the past because he opened my eyes on a lot of shit. So obviously his grandpa's Marcus Johnson. His son Chris is going to have me on his show. It's going to come out next week. So that'll be awesome. So go check that out. Please check that out. Give a like, whatever. He knows some big people. So that could, be some exposure for me. But anyway, Bilal Abbasi, what's up, my man? Says tough loss. Kyle Stakes if they play Heat in round 1. Alexander says, can the Rams go back to back? Yes. Alexander says, how are the Loyola Ramblers going to do during March Madness? Dude, I don't know your team that well. Bilal Abbasi says, what's your opinion on Mook? You know how I feel about Mook, bro. We always talk about it in the space. Can't get by, guys. His weakness is finishing around the rim. He's, not quick. He just relies on his contested shot making that he's really good at. Great in the mid-range, skilled in the post. Can score from 2 levels, honestly. He's not a 3-level scorer. He doesn't have the inside level, the first level. He's all mid-range and threes, which means that he doesn't generate easy points. And then laterally, he's getting worse by the year and doesn't offer, as I said earlier in the live, much resistance at the rim. So we're really dependent on him scoring when we don't have Kawhi in them. But you know what, man? I'm starting to think Bilal Abbasi, especially with I didn't mention Robert Covington not playing in the live tonight. Fuck. I should have mentioned that. I can't believe I didn't. But that was a big loss. So, by the way, I was going to say Bilal Abbasi. You know what I think we should do? Honestly, man, we keep Rocco. We may be able to get rid of – we maybe should get rid of Mook. I'm serious. I just don't think we're going to need him with Kawhi and Paul, with Terrence and Luke Kennard and what we were seeing from Coffee. If we need a little bit extra scoring, just put Brandon Boston a little more during the regular season. Like, you know what I mean? We got to have Norman Powell. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't even think we need Mook anymore. And I love Mook, but, I'm starting to feel like we can get rid of him. Yeah, Will knows Matt Barnes, yes. Jonathan Jacob says, do you think Braun as the second best player of all time is a bad take, or do you just personally disagree with it? I don't even think it's a bad take, nor do I disagree necessarily. Actually, no, I do disagree. But it's not a bad take. I just don't like when everyone says, oh, if you don't have LeBron top 2, you're asleep. It's Jordan LeBron top 2. That's guaranteed. No. That's the media, what they want to make you believe, because it's best for views. And it's easy to shorten your attention span and not think of anybody else because you're watching somebody who's in the GOAT discussion. And Jordan, he's just so fiended. He's such a brand. You know what I'm saying? His legacy is so powerful. And they're both entertaining. That's the thing. They're both entertaining, and they both were the best players for the longest time. Suleiman Ali says, have you been following UCLA this year? I had them as a contender. Yeah, here and there. I'm going to be definitely following more college this month, so I'll definitely be doing some more college analysis, even though my knowledge of the teams isn't as strong. That's the thing. I don't know their tendencies. So, I don't want to act like I'm an expert with them. Like we're basketball. I know these guys inside and out, their games. So, I'll talk about it more, though. Definitely, I'll talk about – you guys are asking about soccer. I'll talk about that more as the season goes on. But I just can't title or base any of my episodes around soccer unless it's like the World Cup or the Champions League final or something, because – people don't watch on this channel. And my channel's all basketball fans, particularly Lakers and Clippers. Like, guys, I don't even go live on other nights because I know people don't watch. Are you guys going to watch? We're having trouble with views this year. So we got to figure out what to do going forward. It's all about getting back in the favor of those algorithms. But hopefully then the playoff starts, we'll get more views again. But, I think next year when Kawhi and Paul come back, and every single game is going to be like high expectations. We're going to try to be, want to go for the 1 seed, want to go to win the championship. That the lives are going to be electric again. I hope. Yeah, Bilal Abbasi or much rebounding. Exactly. He doesn't rebound. That's why, remember when we were going back to that conversation of whether he's a 3 or a 4, bro? I was saying earlier in the live, in the 2000s, he would never be a 4 because he can't rebound, bro. He can't hang. And back in the day, rebounding was like a big thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Boxing out. Now it's mostly long rebounds, and he still looks kind of weak on it, because he's a let's see, right? It says Durant doesn't like how the media disrespects past legends and only talk about how it's MJ and Braun, and that if you have anyone else besides those two players, top 2, you don't know ball. Yes, correct. Showtime Nick says the Rams maybe without OBJ, and I don't know when Robert Woods will come back. We can keep in mind he made Cooper Kupp go from good to historically great and help OBJ get his career back on track. That's facts. John Lentz says after the month of March, you're going to think Cade Cunningham should win Rookie of the Year. Okay, we'll see about that. Boston has been saying that all the time. Right? It says disrespect for the past legends, and I agree. Showtime Nick says Von Miller's a free agent, though, right? Yes, he is. Bilal Abbasi says, honestly, wouldn't be surprised if they look to move Kennard too. Got a logjam at guard with Norm, PG, Amir, Man. I think Amir and Man can be more of wings, though, don't you think? Like, I think I think we should definitely keep Luke, bro. We got to keep him. Because we have Rocco, Terrence, and Amir. I think Amir's a wing more than a guard. I think he's shown some capabilities of playmaking and pick and roll, but I think that he's more of a wing. John Lynn says, "Damn, I'll try to come to every live for the rest of the season." And yeah, I think you'll get more people in the lives next year. Clippers will be better. Facts. Showtime Knicks. Thanks for the soccer, man. To the soccer shout out. This guy's a Knicks fan. But he's definitely more into soccer, and he played soccer. During the World Cup, we're going to do a lot of content, guys. It's going to suck because basketball season's going to be on, but I won't be watching basketball like that during the World Cup. That's going to be awful. Regular season basketball during the World Cup? Hell no. I don't even know if I'm probably going to take a hiatus. I'm probably going to take a fucking hiatus. But anyway. Yeah, Alexander wants to get on for the World Cup. Definitely. Brant, what's up, man? How you been? Yo. Yeah, Bilal Abbasi, 2 or 3. That's a wing, though, more than a guard for me. Super Adult Teen says Luke is a great shooter. Darian wins the World Cup, right? Yes. It's actually in the winter this year, which sucks. I never thought of that. So NFL and NBA and the World Cup is going to be on. See, for people that they think that's a good thing, like everything's on at once. I don't like that, man. I like it when the World Cup is the only thing on because it's the best. I don't need any distraction. Yeah, I'm not going to be watching shit. But the thing is, the World Cup's during the day. Basketball's at night. But if I'm doing recaps, I'd be doing World Cup first and then basketball. Always. Anyway. Bilal Abbas says the thing we love to do is play big on the perimeter. PG is a small forward playing shooting guard. Yeah, fair enough. Why is it not in the summer? Because the climate of Qatar is too hot during the summer, Raid. Let me hop on the pod. We can chop it up about the clips, Bilal Abbasi says. You know what we should do, Bilal Abbasi? You should just hop on. I'm actually getting a streaming software to have guests on the lives. So before the season ends, we can definitely have you as one of the guests on a live, post-game live. We're collaborating, Anyway, all right, guys. My computer's going to die in a sec, so 55 minutes is pretty good. Peace out, y'all. Make sure you share, retweet, whatever. Make sure when I end this video, comment for the algorithms, though, boys. Keep that shit going. So maybe leave a like. Anyway, peace out, y'all, and good night.